There are two kinds of people in this universe, those who wait for a miracle and those who become one. You were never the former. You weren't built to stand in line, to whisper, to watch the stars from below. No, you were meant to burn. They called you too much, too loud, too stubborn, too ambitious. They wanted you to shrink, to dim, to fit inside their tiny little universe. But what they didn't realize, sparks don't stay sparks, they detonate. You weren't born a supernova. You were a whisper in the dark, a flicker, a fragile ember, in a world hell-bent on stomping out anything that dared to glow. And yet, here you are. Now the universe holds its breath, because you're not just burning, you're bending reality. You're tilting the cosmic scales in your favor. The rules of gravity, they're yours to rewrite. And guess what? It's too late for them to stop you. You weren't born with a roar. You were a whisper, a flicker, a what if in a world addicted to never. They told you to sit down, stay quiet, blend in. The teacher who said you'd never, the lover who said you couldn't, the mirror that lied, whispering doubts back at you every time you dared to dream bigger. At first you believed them, you bit your tongue, you played small, you let them write your story in pencil, just so they could erase you when they were done. But then something changed. A match struck in the dark. Maybe it was a betrayal that cut too deep, a loss that cracked you open. Or maybe it was just a voice inside you that finally had enough. No more. The fire started small, a quiet defiance, a refusal to keep swallowing the lies they fed you. And then it grew, because here's the truth. They never wanted you to realize. Sparks don't stay sparks. They either die out or they ignite. And the moment you chose fire, the world panicked. They labeled your flame chaos, your ambition arrogance, your hunger a problem. They called you too much, too loud, too wild, too dangerous. Because nothing terrifies the powerless more than someone who refuses to be controlled. They tried to douse you in doubt, smother you in expectations, convince you that shining was selfish, that shrinking was survival. They wanted you to apologize for taking up space, to bend, to break, to beg. But here's the thing about sparks. They don't negotiate. They don't compromise. They burn. And once you caught fire, there was no stopping it. You weren't just fighting back. You were becoming. The smallness they shoved you into couldn't hold you anymore. The rules they wrote for you, you tore them apart. Because you weren't put here to dim. You weren't built to be a footnote in someone else's story. You were meant to consume the page. And now they're scared, because for the first time you're not asking for permission. You're not waiting for approval. You're not whispering anymore. You are fire, and they're finally realizing there's no putting you out. Even stars falter. Even fire questions if it was ever truly light or just another illusion, flickering desperately before the dark swallows it whole. There were nights when doubt gripped your throat like a black hole, dragging you into the abyss. The weight of every what if crushing down on your chest. What if they were right? What if you were just another shadow screaming for attention? What if this fire wasn't power, but a slow, inevitable burnout? You choked on your own ash, suffocating under the ghosts of your failures. Every scar, every loss, every mistake clung to you like cosmic debris, whispering that maybe you were never meant to shine, maybe you were never meant to escape. And just as the doubts pulled you under, the vultures circled. The so-called friends who once cheered for you, but now watched with quiet satisfaction as you stumbled. The strangers who dug up your past, twisting your mistakes into weapons. The system, designed to keep people like you in their place, to crush too much into just enough. They called your fire reckless, your ambition dangerous, your rise a mistake, and for a moment you almost believed them. But then, something shifted. Because even under the crushing weight of gravity, even in the darkest void, something inside you refused to collapse. You reached the point of no return, the moment where the pressure, the doubt, the fear became too much to contain. You snapped. The job you quit, the boundary you set, the lie you refused to swallow. That was the moment everything changed. Because they thought they were burying you. They didn't realize they were planting a star, and when a star reaches critical mass, when it absorbs every ounce of pain, rejection, and resistance, there's only one thing left for it to do: explode. Sparks are fragile, they flicker, they can be extinguished. But supernovas, they rewrite the universe. They don't just burn, they obliterate everything that tried to contain them. And you're not just surviving anymore, you're becoming. The gravitational pull of your own power bends reality around you. The same voices that once laughed at your spark, now they whisper your name with awe. Because the collapse wasn't your end, it was the moment the universe realized you were never just a flame, you were a force of nature waiting to be unleashed. Supernovas don't ask permission, they don't wait for approval, they don't whisper their arrival, they detonate. And you've reached the point where hesitation no longer exists. You've absorbed every rejection, every betrayal, every insult that was meant to break you. But instead of crumbling, you did something no one expected. You turned all of it, every failure, every scar, every you can't, into raw, unstoppable fuel. Supernovas don't just shine, they obliterate the old, making way for something new. They don't just burn brighter, they reshape the entire structure of the cosmos. And you're scattering stardust across the void, leaving your mark in ways no one can ignore. The same people who mocked your spark now shield their eyes from your radiance. The ones who dismissed you as reckless, foolish, delusional, they're the ones whispering your name now, pretending they always believed in you. But here's the best part, you're no longer looking for their validation. Because a supernova doesn't care about the opinions of planets, it creates them. The universe bends for forces too powerful to be ignored. And now, you're bending reality itself. The no's that used to shut doors in your face, they're now stuttering, scrambling, rewording themselves into how high, how soon, how can we be a part of this? The doubters, they orbit you now, caught in the gravity of what you've become. Because here's the truth, you didn't get lucky. You bent the universe until it bowed. You rewrote the game. You didn't follow the path. They never made one for you anyway. So instead, you scorched your own way into existence, carving your legacy into the fabric of time itself. And now the question isn't whether you were meant to shine. The question is, what's your supernova? Is it the art they said wouldn't sell? The love they swore you didn't deserve? The truth they begged you to silence? Whatever it is, ignite it. Let it erupt. Let it consume every doubt, every fear, every limitation they tried to chain you with. Because the universe doesn't belong to those who wait for permission. It belongs to those who burn so bright. Reality has no choice but to make room. Long after the explosion, the universe still whispers your name. The energy you released, the gravity you altered, it never truly fades. Your supernova wasn't just a moment of brilliance, it was a shift. A rewriting of reality itself. Because that's the thing about fire, it spreads. Your light lingers in the girl who once shrank herself to fit inside a world too small for her dreams. Now she wears her scars like constellations, a map of battles survived and galaxies yet to be conquered. It's in the boy who spent his life apologizing for existing, now turning his voice into an anthem that refuses to be ignored. You've done more than burn bright. You've ignited others. Because the universe is a battlefield, a war between dark and light, between those who settle for gravity and those who defy it. You've chosen your side. You didn't beg for space, you took it. And now there's no going back. The textbooks will have to be rewritten. The rules will have to be shattered. The universe will have to expand to fit what you've become. They called you a spark. They thought you'd fade, flicker out, disappear into the night. Joke's on them. You were never just a spark. You were the supernova. They just lacked the vision to see it. What's heavier, the weight of their expectations or the gravity of your destiny? They wanted you to carry their doubts, their limits, their small idea of who you should be. But you were never meant to live under their weight. You were built for something greater, and the universe knew it before you did. Can you hear it? The universe whispering, finally, I've been waiting for you. Through every setback, through every moment of doubt, through every time they told you to stop, the universe was watching, not in judgment, but in anticipation. It was waiting for the moment you'd realize you were never meant to follow, you were meant to lead. They said you'd burn out, but stars don't burn out. They collapse, then reignite. And when they do, they don't just shine, they reshape the universe.